Well, another fun unboxing video. This time for something that is definitely different, and I am interested to see what this looks like firsthand because the pictures make it seem like it's pretty awesome. So I'll skip the actual cutting and then get to the opening. And through the magic of modern digital technology, we now have a box that's open. And some acoustic strings that I wanted as well. But this right here is a different shaped box than I'm used to, so I will get it out and then put it up next to the other one. Now normally, I would be all about getting a hard shell case with this, but that is not the case on this particular one because of what it actually is. So I think without further ado, it's time to find out what's inside the box that's inside the box. And how does it actually look? And how many boxes does it take to get to the center of a Fender shipping container? Plenty of packing material. Anybody needs packing material? I've got it in spades right now. Which side has the straps on? My goodness gracious. So, first impressions. It is very similar in appearance to what is on the Meteora series. Like, I remember on the Meteora series it having this same pick and everything in here. So, like I say, these are really nice units though, and they have always been nice since they came about. So, I am really anxious to see what this looks like in person. Oh yeah, look at that fretboard. That was one of the selling points that I saw for these guitars. Now, Pal is not always this pretty, but man, that is gorgeous. It's almost like it's cut in half on this one. It's not even like normal, like streaked, like you would get in some of the other types of rosewood or ebony. This one looks like it's almost cut in half. I have never seen Pal with that kind of figuring or appearance. And the Fender, like, let's step out into the light and I'll show you. It's got a kind of reflective nature to it. See that? And I don't think that's just because it is glossed over. I think it's something else. So, there is some figuring on the headstock that I have personally never seen. And look at that, there's some kind of die or something right here on the nut. That's different. A little bit of tooling marks there, but that headstock has some figuring that I've never seen on a neck like that on a Fender before. And that dark blue color is just stunning. That has a cover on it, so that's plastic if you're thinking that it might be something else. But that is a pretty color and transition. Locking tuners. Pretty good looking guitar. How does it play though? That's the real question. So one of my questions about these guitars was, how big is this thing? I mean, what does it look like in compared size to a Stratocaster, which is what is next to me right now? So I've got the American Pro 2 Tele that I'll put it up against next, but right now it's next to the American Select Mahogany Stratocaster, and similarly sized overall, but the body is definitely bigger. And when put like this, you can emphasize how big it really is in comparison to the Stratocaster. So if you were wondering how big and how different it is, I think they both share the same scale length, but they are definitely not the exact same size, as it appears that the Meteora is a much wider body guitar and seemingly is going to be heavier down here on the bass end. And essentially the same story holds true for the Telecaster versus the Meteora. Telecaster has a much smaller, narrower body, whereas the Meteora is much more akin to the size of probably a Jazzmaster or Jaguar. And you can definitely see that it is probably going to be much heavier. I'll get it on a strap here in a little bit after I get some basic tones out of it and see if I can get a good picture of how it hangs, because I am really curious how that's going to feel on a strap. But looking side by side, you can see that's a much wider guitar. Though again, similar specs when it comes to the neck length or the scale length, but the actual guitars. Though I will say this, the headstocks have a much more similar appearance. Of course, the American Select has a black headstock, but you can see that both of them have a very similar color to their headstocks. And also you can see that the figuring in this one is much more pronounced versus the American Pro Telecaster. So there is a little bit, but nothing as obvious as what's in the Meteora. So here we are. I've done a little bit of playing already. Cliff notes, it's a great feeling guitar. And the neck really has that same satiny feel that makes so many of the newer Player and Player Plus and other model Fenders just easy to slide up and down the neck on. And I gotta tell you, I'm super surprised by how really easily you can get comfortable to this, to modern Fender guitars, because I remember having to learn to really enjoy Fender guitars in the past, and that is not the case anymore. Now, I will say this, there is something about, and I'll see if I can capture it on here, the fretwork on here, that it's rolled, but there's like a little gap right here at the bottom of the frets into the fretboard. So there's like a little black gap that you may or may not, I'm not sure I can make it focus on it. But the bottom line is that this little gap right here is curious, because I wonder if that is something that we'll try to separate later on. But other than that, I got no complaints. And the rolled edges on this fingerboard just make it easy to be all over the fretboard. Now currently I'm on the front pickup, and it is, I think they said these are noiseless Fireball humbucking pickups. So Fireball, I guess that's a new thing for them. And the S1 switch is located in the master volume. I've got everything right now set to 10. So just going from you can tell a massive difference. And on the bridge pickup, it is really tinny. I mean, like really thin in the neck on there. And it almost makes me feel like it needs to be closer up, like it's unbalanced or something. I'm not quite sure why it's got such a, because it really does feel like maybe it's not adjusted right. I don't know. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. In the middle, it sounds just fine with when it's, you know, split, when it's not split. But you lose a lot of volume out of that. I mean, like a lot of volume out of that. And I am not sure how to handle that, because I think that would drive me nuts in the long run. But right now, I want to point out this right here. So this is the front pickup. And when you change the tone knob down, you can give it a seriously muted sound. I mean, like you're playing with something covering the amp. Because it goes from just muted sounding all the way up to, like I say, a really bright and chimey sound. And when this one is in, when the bridge pickup is in at 10, it is very tinny. And when you turn it down, it goes into that same mute. So it almost takes away your tone, even though the volume stays the same. So the tone changes your volume, and that's something I'm not sure I would really like, but it ain't bad. It's got a cool sound to it. Not sure I would use it very often. Split. But when you roll the tone down on it when it's split, it just goes away. Right around 3 is where it starts to come back. And by 10, it's a full-on sound again. Now that is with the split. When you got it back in humbucking, so like I say, I love the color though. They should definitely offer this on different guitars because this color is pretty outstanding. I think they call it Belair Blue. So it looks like white to me, but this is definitely blue. And I got nothing but love for the color. I'm not sure I would jump in on these pickups, but maybe they're going to grow on me. We'll have to see. I definitely like this front pickup in humbucking and rolled down to about 7 or 8. And I'll tell you right now, this really does remind me of a Jaguar. Like, there's a lot of similarities in the way this feels when you compare it to like an American, I'm not even sure it'd be American Pro, probably just like an American standard Jaguar, because they are, I don't know, it just feels very similar overall. Like, it's got a lot of the same, I don't know, just the feel. I don't know how to say it. It's just, it has a lot of the same feel that the Jaguar does. And something else on this guitar. These are 9-gauge strings. I'm almost positive of it. And I'll be willing to bet this guitar would greatly benefit from some 10-gauge strings. and a proper setup, because it just, I don't know, it's got a feeling like it needs to be a little bit deeper with just a little bit more oomph to the sound would give it. And at a 25.5 scale length, it really does have the tension to support that. Anyway, first impressions. I like it. It definitely needs fatter strings. I think it would greatly benefit from some 10 gauge strings and the setup to match that. Overall, though, it's got a great feel to it, and as I said, very Jaguar. Very, very Jaguar. And if you like Jaguars and you're not ready to commit to something like a Jaguar, this is something brand new that I think, well, not brand new, they've made it before, but it is something new to the Player Plus and Player lineup that would get you a good feeling and be comfortable to play, which realistically is everything when you are looking for the right guitar. I'm going to put it on a strap. We'll see what it feels like there. So this guy feels pretty comfortable and doesn't really change. It doesn't, hangs pretty good on a strap. But Fenders have almost always done that. That's been something that's specific to Fenders for a while. I don't think I've ever picked up a Fender that didn't hang on a strap very well. Picked up plenty of Gibsons that did not do the same thing. They were very neck divey or body divey, depending on the model that they were. So, first impressions, I like it. Not sure about these pickups and the way they split. Not sure about the tone. Think this would definitely benefit from being closer to the strings, because I think that even though it'd probably be a little bitey, that's definitely not bitey enough. I just feel like it needs to be closer. But again, that's something that can easily be fixed with a little time and a little effort. Overall, pretty cool guitar. Don't know that I'll keep it, but it's definitely different, and sometimes different is a good thing to do. What y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Catch y'all next time.